In all the years that I've been playing and coaching the game, I've never stepped into the gym and seen a player working on their defensive skills. But I'm going to give you today some really simple things that you can do to become a defensive stopper. And I have Kyle here with me, a multi-time PGC grad, and we're going to go through some very simple principles and habits that you can develop and add to your game so that you can be a lockdown defender. Kyle, we're going to go ahead and start with our first skill that you can develop, and it's the ability to take a charge. Most players are fearful of taking charges because they've never learned how to take charges properly. Rather than taking a 4-foot charge in which you just grin and bear it and take a licking, we're going to teach you how to take a 4-inch fall. You want to make every charge a 4-inch fall so that it's a relatively small distance that you're falling when you actually absorb the contact. So if I'm the offensive player and Kyle's the defensive player, in fact, we'll put you in a help side position, Kyle. As the penetration comes down the lane, the closer the ball or the closer the penetrator is to you, the lower you want to get. That's a key principle. The closer the ball is, the lower you get. So he's down, he's in an athletic stance, and as opposed to doing what most players do, which is stand up tall, which A, makes it difficult to take a charge, or it hurts, it can hurt when you take the charge, but it also makes it easier for a quick and clever offensive player to direction change and go around you and leave you looking like a pylon. When you're low and wide, you're ready to slide and move either direction with the penetration, but you're also ready to absorb the contact and have a light fall. So the closer I get to Kyle, the lower he gets, until finally, by the time we're ready to make contact, instead of it being chest to chest, he's down low and he's within a few inches of his two cheeks hitting the ground. Then he's going to keep out his forearm. This is going to be his protector. This is going to be his bumper, just like a car. This is his fender to protect his engine. He doesn't want to take a hit in the chest. If he was to take a 4-foot charge and just stand, he's leaving his chest exposed, which can hurt a lot. You want to protect yourself. You get low and wide. You keep your forearm out, and as you absorb the contact, you want to exhale. You want to exhale as a habit to help you in absorbing the contact, and then he's going to fall and actually roll and lift his feet in the air. So his feet go up in the air, and the benefit of his feet going up in the air is that if I'm going to fall on top of him, he's going to actually be protected. So as opposed to taking a 4-foot fall in which there's actually 2 points of contact, there can be the point of contact when I hit him and the point of contact when I land on him. With the 4-inch fall, he gets lower and wider as the offensive player gets closer and closer and closer. He gets out his fender, his bumper to protect him, and then as he falls, his feet come up in the air so that if I fall, I'm only going to fall on his feet and go off to one side or even over top of him. So let's take a look at what a couple of the key things are in order to get the call from a referee. Because that block charge call is often a difficult one, and there are a lot of frustrated coaches and frustrated players when a charge situation occurs. So here's what you can do to increase the likelihood of getting the call. The first and key fundamental principle is to fall in the direction of the penetration. Let me say that again. You need to fall in the direction of the penetration. If I'm penetrating down the lane in this direction, and as I'm penetrating, Kyle falls this direction, that's an obvious one to the referee that he wasn't there in time and he's not going to get the call. But even if he's not there, you'll routinely hear referees say, well, your feet were moving. But I think that's typically because referees don't know how to express what they're actually seeing. Because you can have your feet moving. The key is you need to get your feet moving so that you can fall in the direction of the penetration. So as I penetrate down the lane, Kyle needs to get his body in front of me and make sure that his two cheeks are falling, and he wants to get his two cheeks down, and he needs to fall in the direction of the penetration. That's the clearest and easiest way to show the referee that you were there in time. It doesn't matter, once again, if your feet were moving. What matters is do you fall in the direction of the penetration. And you don't want to crumple to the ground. You don't want to fall hard and land flat. You want to get that 4-inch fall into a roll. So Kyle, let's just take 1 or 2 from the top, and this time we're going to we'll take 1 or 2 right here, and then we'll take a look at 1 or 2 on ball penetration. So he's a help side defender. I penetrate down the lane. He steps up. He gets lower and lower and lower, takes the charge. and bounces up again. Now, how can he practice it on his own? Coaches, you can obviously do this in your practices and just divide players into groups of 2 and have them work on their charge taking, and then Kyle would come at me and I would take my charge. But you can do it on your own. You can do it with carpeting. You can do it on your bed if you want to and get a really soft landing on your mattress. Or you can even do it in a gym. I used to work on it in grass in my backyard. I would just leave my little area where I would dribble and shoot, go onto the grass and practice my charges. But let's take a look at Kyle just working on his own. Let's have you get 2 quick reps. And he bounces up, stands back up again. So you need imagination in this. You need to picture that you're actually taking a charge against a penetrating player. Go ahead, Cal. You saw on the second one, he actually took one big step in order to fall in the direction of the penetration. Now let's take a look what it would look like as an on-ball defender. There are a lot of players who can take charges on players off the ball, but to be able to take an on-ball charge is much more difficult. Off-ball help side defense, players can get there, but you have to not only be quick, you've got to be clever to be able to be an on-ball defender and step in and take a charge. So Kyle's guarding me, and I begin to penetrate either direction. What he has to do is he has to anticipate and he has to get his feet over so that he can fall in the direction of the penetration. So if I attack to the right, he needs to get in front of me and fall that way. If I attack to the left, he needs to get over and fall that way. So let's take a look at each one of those. He has to take a big step over and fall in the direction of the penetration. And let's do it this time without me even moving. So you can do this just like you do it if you were on your own. So you're at the 3-point line guarding a shooter, and they attempt to penetrate, and you slide over and take the charge. That's your 4-inch fall charge.